The Yakovlev Yak-141, also known as the Freestyle, is one of those fascinating pieces of aviation history that feels like it was pulled straight out of science fiction. Born during the Cold War, this Soviet prototype fighter was an ambitious attempt to create a supersonic vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, something that could rival or even surpass the British Harrier and potentially redefine air combat for decades. While it never made it into full production, the Yak-141 still stands as one of the boldest experiments in jet fighter technology, and its story is both impressive and tragic. Today on Regular Car Reviews Auto, we're stepping away from four wheels and diving into the world of advanced aviation, exploring this wild machine that carried as much promise as it did controversy. The Yak-141 first took to the skies in the late 1980s. At its core, the aircraft was designed to solve a pressing Soviet challenge: how to operate advanced jet fighters from smaller carriers and forward bases without needing long runways. The solution was vertical takeoff and landing capability, or VTOL. But unlike the British Harrier, which relied on vectored thrust nozzles for maneuverability, the Yakovlev design team went for a different approach. The Yak-141 had a powerful afterburning turbofan engine with a vectoring nozzle at the rear for forward thrust, and it also carried two lift jets behind the cockpit, which activated only during takeoff and landing. This three-engine arrangement made it capable of hovering, taking off vertically, or performing short takeoff runs depending on the mission needs. In terms of performance, the Yak-141 was no slouch. It could reach speeds of over Mach 1.4, far outpacing the subsonic Harrier and making it the world's first supersonic VTOL fighter. With a maximum altitude of over 50,000 feet and an impressive climb rate, it showed just how far Soviet engineers were willing to push technology. It was also armed with a 30mm cannon and could carry a mix of missiles and bombs across several hardpoints, making it a true multi-role fighter in theory. On paper, it seemed like the perfect combination of speed, versatility, and firepower. However, what looked brilliant in theory often came with serious challenges in practice. The lift jets behind the cockpit added extra weight and consumed precious fuel, limiting operational range. The complex engineering required to balance the aircraft during vertical takeoff was incredibly difficult, and the risk of accidents was high. During testing, one of the prototypes was lost in a crash when the landing system failed, showcasing just how unforgiving VTOL designs can be. Politics also played a role in sealing the Yak-141's fate. By the early 1990s, the Soviet Union was collapsing, and military budgets were being slashed across the board. Despite its potential, the Yak-141 was considered too costly to develop further. The project was abandoned, leaving only a handful of prototypes behind. Interestingly, the aircraft did catch the attention of Western powers, and there have been claims that elements of the Yak-141's technology influenced later designs like the F-35B Lightning II, which also features vertical takeoff and landing capability. Today, the Yak-141 Freestyle remains a rare glimpse into what might have been. It wasn't just another experimental jet, it was a vision of the future that never fully arrived. Aviation enthusiasts continue to marvel at its bold engineering, its supersonic performance, and its futuristic design. Even though it never entered full service, its legacy lives on as a daring step forward in the pursuit of air superiority. And that's the story of the Yakovlev Yak-141 Freestyle, one of the most ambitious VTOL prototypes ever created. If you enjoyed this deep dive into an aircraft that combined innovation, risk, and untapped potential, make sure to stick around with us here at Regular Car Reviews Auto. We're not just about cars, we explore machines of all kinds, from the road to the skies, bringing you stories of engineering brilliance and bold ideas that shaped history.